Well, 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 well. Good morning, evening, afternoon, night, wherever you are. Nighttime here, and damn, if there's any football game that's gonna put you to sleep, guys, there it is. I don't know really where to start. Trying to think of a way to introduce it, but if there was the most predictable game of all time, especially after those lineups, especially after everything that's happened, there it is. That's now, if my numbers do me correctly, guys, 6 of the last 6 games between Liverpool and Chelsea have ended in a draw, and 5 of the 6 have ended 0-0. So yeah, it's time to start putting your mortgage on a 0-0 because it was terrible. Anyway. Grizz is not here. Let's get through that. His Wi-Fi's down. He's I don't know where he is. He's out in. I don't know about that excuse, to be honest. I don't know about that excuse. He was in and he wasn't. So yeah, but no. How you feeling, man? Because we kind of just got on backstage and we just laughed at each other.
Yeah, that was probably the worst game from a Liverpool point of view to watch, to be a part of, to anticipate, to put our top 4 hopes on, and it was just so dire. It's actually an indictment on Chelsea. How the hell have you not scored against this Liverpool team? We had Bournemouth who scored against us. We've had Nottingham Forest who scored against us. Chelsea must be absolutely, ultimately shit if they could not score against this Liverpool team playing in this type of way at the moment.
Oh, you know what? I had no hope for both teams. Every time Chelsea went through, I was like, it's not going in. Even the I don't know what it was about the Havertz one. Even when it went in, I was like, there's something wrong. That ball. And then I was thinking, if there's a way a team is gonna score today, it's like that, through some sort of dodgy ass rebound. But oh damn, no. All right. Let's go to the beginning, right? Because there were rumors all day about players getting rested, whatever. I was thinking, nah, surely not. Surely not Salah. Surely not Trent. Surely not Van Dijk. Surely not Robertson. Surely not Gakpo. But it happened. And there was a few teams floated out there. But that starting 11, how did you feel, mate? How did that look to you when you at 7 o'clock when you got in ready for the big game?
Yeah. When I saw that lineup, I knew automatically this was a statement from Jurgen Klopp. This is not a lineup to try and change it up or try and change the fortunes of Liverpool. You could tell that this was a statement to all the senior players that's let Liverpool down this season, that he's not having it anymore. And some of the quotes that came out just before the game, or just in the embargo section last night, showed that he is absolutely pissed at some of the senior players and their conduct in not giving it their all. You know, you can get beat by Man City 4-1, that's fine. It can happen, they can outplay you. However, what we saw against Man City was absolutely a team that's just given up on the pitch and has accepted their fate. And Klopp did not like that, so he put out this team in order to stress to those guys: listen, you are replaceable. No matter what happens, anything can happen to me. If I get sacked, I get sacked. However, I'm not accepting this type of standard. And so when I saw that lineup, I was like, good on you, Jurgen. I'm not expecting anything big. I'm not expecting Liverpool to reach the top 4. So yeah, butts needed to be whipped. And but however, as you saw, that lineup kind of destroyed any chance of having a good game against Chelsea, or having a quality game where you can see chances on both ends because it was horrendous.
You know what? We're never good at Chelsea anyway. We never play well at Stamford Bridge. They always seem to turn up. So when I saw their midfield, I saw Chelsea fans complaining. I've seen Chelsea fans complaining all season about their midfield. Bro, you've got Enzo, Kante and Kovacic in there. Do you know how much Liverpool fans would bite your hands off for that midfield? Because I saw that. I was like, we ain't winning that midfield battle, right? Enzo, Kante, Kovacic, these guys are dominating us. And they grab that ball. Go on.
You saw it in the first couple of minutes where Kante just strolls past our midfield. Bodies Tsimikas, and they've got a chance straight away in the first like 3-4 minutes. And then they thought, hey, look, this guy hasn't played since August. He hasn't started a game since August, and yet he's able to just bypass our midfield like he did today. It was terrible viewing, to be honest.
Honestly, how much do you reckon we could get Kante and Kovacic for? Probably about, in this nowadays, considering they're coming to the end of their contracts and whatever, probably about 50, 60 mil. Bro, I'm telling you, there is so many midfielders out there, right? And I know we're talking about spending a lot of money, and I do want us to spend a lot of money. But honestly, the state of our midfield right now, you're taking 10 to 12 of the Premier League's midfield over our midfield because it was baffling. Like you said, the first few minutes, I think, was it Felix had a chance. He just sort of, it was weird because I was like, this isn't dangerous. He's picked up the ball on the halfway line. He's not particularly quick. The guy was just running, and he kept running, and he kept running. And then all of a sudden, he's on the edge of our box. He spun Matip. I'm like, okay, goal. And if it weren't for Chelsea's terrible finishing, that's 1-0. And then a few minutes later, they're in again behind Tsimikas. I know where Tsimikas was. Guy looks like he's been, I don't know,
asleep.
I don't know what sort of drugs he's been taking all season, but the guy's head was in space, right? And look, he was good for us last season, but blimey, this guy, he looks like he does not try at all. Well,
it's infectious. It's infectious, to be honest. It's like this. The whole team have been infected with an illness or a viral infection that stops them from making challenges. It's so infuriating. They just go run up to the player and then just watch them do whatever the hell they want to do. There's never like, what is it? Someone making a last minute channel. I kind of felt sorry for Trent because he got bullied in the Man City game due to people not covering his left side. So when he goes and shows people on the outside and Grealish was coming inside, there was no one there. Elliot wasn't there to try and make a challenge. He was just there to watch, make another number, act like you're doing something, but you're really not doing anything. And so this was, again, you saw a team that's just not here to make challenges, not here to, put out a statement against a Chelsea that's also been dire the whole season. But I don't think it's intentional from the players. I just think that they mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, and they just cannot keep up with this anymore.
No, me either. And we've been saying it all season. It's getting tiring, to be honest. We said it. We saw it in the first game at Fulham, where we were like, surely that's just a bit of a one-off mentality. He's not there, whatever. But if we took that game seriously, it's the pattern for the whole season. Start slow. Oh, perfect timing. Grey Top. Sorry, I didn't even see your comment. Started from Fulham away, first game. Like, damn.
100%. And you saw in that game that how lethargic we were. We weren't really into it. We thought we'd just turn up and our aura would beat the team. And it didn't. Like, I remember when we beat Man City in that Charity Shield match, we just thought, all right, look, we don't have to work anymore. It's just part of what we do. And that mentality has seeped in. So they've released the valve of a couple of percent, released the pressure a couple of percent. And this is what happens, especially with a team that's not a squad that's not massive. For you to let off your performance or drop off in performance in 1 or 2%, it will show massively.
You know what?
Massively.
You've hit the nail on the head, because that sort of 2-3%, that sort of energy, that sort of push that we still get that at Anfield for the big games. Hence why we beat City there. Hence why we beat United there. Who else did we beat there? I don't know, Newcastle.
Yeah.
Whatever. Hence why we won the big games at Anfield, because we get that push, we get that motivation. But this squad for the last 4 or 5 years have been able to sort of push themselves away from home and put their own motivation and desire into performance. And I was just going to touch on this as well. I said it about 2 months ago. Maybe we just need to rip up everything and just say, screw it. Let's finish 10th. Let's not have European football. Let's just strip it up. Just focus on the domestic stuff next year. Get back to basics. Get something ticking. Play once a week, sometimes twice a week, and then go. Because look, if we obviously want Champions League, and I was thinking, do we want champion? Would you rather have sort of patch over the gaping wounds by getting Champions League again, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, it was off season, we only need 2 or 3 signings instead of 4 or 5, or do you make it obvious? And I feel like Klopp made it obvious today with the team. He said, I'm not happy. He played a midfield that, Fabinho, Henderson, Jones, that midfield has been, and then he brought Milner on. These guys have been here since 2018, the 2018-19 season.
Yeah, hence I said it was a statement. And what Jurgen Klopp is... Look, a lot of people getting on Jurgen Klopp nowadays, and this is my theory, right? Jurgen Klopp 100% wanted to change this midfield, right? However, the way we operate, he has to sometimes try and, weigh it up. Should I go for this person who's second, third choice, or should I just wait for my real target? Because at the end of the day, if I do go splash the money on a third choice target, then when the player that I am looking for becomes available, I know that these owners will not back it. So he took that risk, and that's part of his decision, and that's the decision he made in the summer, where he didn't go for, after we lost out on Tushimani, we didn't go for another midfielder, and he'll be waiting for Jude. So you can criticize him, yes, for taking that risk and trying and get one more season out of these guys. However, in the bigger picture, the way the football club was run the last few years, and that midfield was being neglected year upon year, we didn't even buy any youngsters to start to slowly bed them in and take over from the older guys. We've relied
on our own youngsters who haven't been able to sort of regularly step in. But at times Jones has stepped in and being a starter. At times Elliott stepped in and being a starter. At times Bajcetic has stepped in and being a starter. But again, if you look at senior signings since 2018, since that sort of one good window we had before the 2018-19 season, the only midfielder we've actually signed is Thiago.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. We've got Arthur on loan. Honestly, I don't know. I could be Arthur, the cartoon character, for all I know. I'm not seeing the guy all year.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought he might get like a run out today, but he didn't. And also, I wanted to ask, what did you think about this?
It's so strange because we come back from the World Cup. He scores against Man City. I know we lose that game, but since then, we've not really seen him. I don't know whether he's trying to protect him, but I'm thinking, if you're trying to protect him, if you're trying to protect Fabio Carvalho, you don't bring him on for the last couple minutes of games we're losing heavily, such as Real Madrid. You don't just isolate him. I don't know. It's strange because
this is when I get on like some of the journalists that work in and around Liverpool and have the opportunity to ask Klopp like pertinent questions, and they never ask what's going on with Carvalho? What's the update with him? How come he's never getting a game now? Something that we all want to know, and the reason behind it. Everyone's got a theory. I had a theory where I said it was one of two reasons. Either he's bulking him up for the future, he's a bit lightweight, or the guy is probably showing like a bad competitive attitude in training. So let's say he hasn't been given a chance, and so he throws a strop. And I know Klopp is not a person that likes that. He likes a person that tries to fight for his place and make sure that you put yourself in his mind, kind of like how Bajcetic done it this season.
No, I agree, guys. Two things. First one, smash the like button. There's now 3 of us here who probably don't want to be here. No, we do. We want to be here for you. We want to be here for you. But smash that like button, because trust me, every single like goes a long way. I don't know, but it turns up on more YouTube homepages, whatever. It works. It's the most effective tool on YouTube. But second thing, we've got the main man, Zoobs.
Yo, big up, oh man, Nerbees. Big up, man. Hopefully
you
it was
doing,
a bigger occasion, but I'm good, man. We're here in the trenches, bro. We're in the trenches, gotta represent. You know what I'm saying? I saw you guys on. I'm like, yo, look, man, I'm available. I'll jump in. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Doing one of the more appearances off the bench. You never know what you're gonna get. Something spectacular.
More than Fabio Carvalho, I'll tell you that.
Hey, gotta keep the appearances up. Nah, captain in the trenches, man. You know, can't have the guys. I'm just in the trenches. Hey, people, smash the like. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Captain's over here, so jump in, and we'll chop up the game, man.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's get. We sort of went off, but back onto the game. Zoob, first half, they sort of created chances. We had a couple chances at the end. Fabinho had a couple shots from the edge of the box, but you're thinking at halftime. What are you thinking at halftime? Are you thinking, are we gonna make some subs here? Are we gonna spark into that?
Starting 11 surprised me. I'm not sure if somebody clipped me up and sent me to the man himself, but the man dropped 2 players I'm calling to be sold. So I'm like, whoa.
Who's that?
Robbo and Salah. I'm like, bro.
Whoa.
I'm like, wait a minute. What's going on here? But to be fair, it's almost like he's saying, look, man, we need to measure the squad. And that's where I'm at right now. I don't know if that's he finally woke up or somebody said, yo, the Zubiri guy is saying the same thing you're saying. Yeah. So I think he's now measuring the squad, and it's all we can do. So second half, I'm expecting, do you say, keep at it, let's try to be a bit more compact, be more, show us something, show us your value. I think that's what he did, but I would have just bring the first team guys back on. Not for Simi though, but I would have changed up the rest of the pieces. I was expecting Trent for Gomez. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I needed Trent for Gomez or Trent for Matip and slide Gomez center back. So with that being said, Milner coming on, you already know what you're going to get. So the subs were a bit kind of weird. It wasn't like he was trying to go for the win. It's more like, let's not lose at the bridge. So I think we got the result we played for basically at the end. And I want to say it's about 12 halves or 12, 45 minutes of football against Chelsea. Scoreless, man. Scoreless.
Yeah,
so,
it was, including 2 extra times.
Yeah, so when you look at that and you look at the run of both teams, no one should be surprised at the result, because with 2 good teams going at it, it's still 0-0. With 2 dead teams going at it, still 0-0. Like, if you're asking for something more, you might fall into the greedy category still. But Allison, it's like Pixelated Pigeon saying, Allison again. I don't think we troubled Kepa. That is worrying.
We didn't.
Nunes had 1 shot from long. That's
it. Yeah, we didn't.
There was a Fabinho shot which, like, Fofana headed away. Other than that, do you know how
mad? No, that was dope. Yeah, but Kepa, man. Were you guys satisfied with the result though?
No, it's like, I wasn't really looking at the result today because I've already resigned myself into believing that we're not getting top 4. However, I wanted to see who's gonna step up here, who's gonna, like, you know, throw their name in the hat for next season, that we can, like, you know, say, hey, you know what, I'm looking to see, I'm looking forward to seeing this guy under Klopp given more minutes. And absolutely no one showed that today. And what baffled me the most is our lack of build-up play. Our build-up play is non-existent. It's pass to Matip back to Allison to Konate out wide. If it's all locked up, we start again, go back to Allison, and we do it again. And then we wait for maybe Nunes to make a run, and then it's a long vertical pass.
It's almost like we need the team to come on to us to create a bit of a pressure. Because there was one moment I was like, man, that was dope, where came from nothing. I want to say it was like Nunes, you know, real scuffled back to Simi, and he just stabbed it through the lines, and then we're away. So it's almost like we need a team to come on to us for us to find either Bobby or whoever's floating in between the lines, Jota, to do a nice little turn. But the moving of the ball was kind of slow, man. There was some 1-2 passes, but they decided to take a touch and look up. It's almost like this team needs 2 to 3 more games to find its rhythm. Like the actual 11 that was out there didn't have any rhythm going for them.
The thing,
go ahead.
So no, the thing, I completely agree with you, but for me the thing is because we don't have those guys in midfield who can sort of play those quick, slick 1-touch, 2-touch sort of passes that we can then break through the lines. It's almost like we do have it at Matip, Khanage, then they play it in there. How many times have you seen the ball sort of go to Fabinho and he's just sort of lets it roll across him, realize someone's on him, then he loses the ball, or he's like trying to protect it, and it looks awkward, it looks uncomfortable. When you got guys like for me, Bajcetic, when he was playing, he'd feint, he'd move it first touch, he'd create angles, he'd sort of flip it around the corner. For me, actually, I don't know about you guys, but I thought we got into positions in behind their defense where, okay, we could be in here, but then it was that sort of next ball on, the sort of decisive ball, maybe the final ball at times, where Jota maybe took an extra touch or two. I thought Curtis Jones had a decent game, but Jones took an extra touch or two. Henderson took an extra touch or two. Nunes took an extra touch or two. The only guy who was sort of, especially in the first half, sort of moving it was Firmino. But I think, look, there's a lot about Jota in here, and I personally thought he had I think he needs a goal. I think he needs a goal to sort of get his confidence back. But I still think like his link-up play, his sort of play off the ball has to be better. Like, you don't need a goal for that. But I was frustrated seeing us get into positions where I'm thinking, oh, if Gakpo or Salah were in them positions, we maybe sort of get in behind. I don't know how you guys sort of felt about that.
Could it been the combination of players wasn't right? Because I'm not a big Jones fan. I'm not like hating on him, but the way he plays football when we had our best team, I'm like, I can't really get with this guy. Today I'm looking at him and he's like Usher and Hendo, like, bro, just step up. Like, we need to be up the field. All of his pass was always in front of the man. There was maybe 1 or 2 that wasn't really on it.
Yeah.
But Jones and Jota, they actually look good. It's the players around them. So, like, who's running beyond Jota when Firmino drops in and then Jota drops in that pocket? Nunes is just stuck wide. So every time Jota gets the ball, it doesn't matter where he gets it, good position, bad position, there's no runner beyond him, and there's no one in and around him to even do like a link-up play. Give it to Gomez. Gomez is doing the looking up. The ball is just stagnant. So he's not even moving with the ball. He's not even moving into space. He's almost doing that trend, like, let me look for that big switch. He doesn't do that switch. So now it's just going back sideways. So it's almost not even doing Jota any help. Every time Jota gets the ball, there's no real forward pass for him. You can say, oh, but he's a forward, he can run with it. But bro, not even once in the game there was a guy forward of Jota. You're like, all right, yeah, Jota is gonna give it to him, then run beyond him. Jota had no one to play off of. Bobby's so deep, none of the midfield is going beyond Bobby either. So it's like,
do you reckon we needed Trent down that side?
Nah, it's not even Trent. It's just the way the midfield operate. Because when you have a guy like Jota and Jota drops in to the pocket, which isn't being a target man, then you have Bobby dropping in like almost a 6, and Nunes is just out wide. Trent would have probably hugged the line, which I see Gomez do a few times, but Gomez just kept drifting into the middle. So then that congest the area and it's easy to defend. But I think what Jota was doing today was really good. It was just the players around him. Bringing on a Gakpo wouldn't have helped him. Jota almost need a striker that's like on the last man or looking to run in behind, to hold that defender in place while he works right in front of it. See what I'm saying? Then they can do like some link up,
isn't it? That's
yeah, but he's stuck wide. But but he's stuck wide.
Yeah.
So then when Jota's on the right, Nunes is literally stuck wide. It's not even helping his stat, you know. It's a weird man. It's a weird one to analyze.
Even like if you go back to the Man City game, right? You saw when we was 1-0 up and Salah was through on goal, right? And then he had Grealish running back. Salah took it super wide compared to what he needed to, right? And he's lost pace because there's no way on hell's earth that Grealish should be catching up Salah with Salah that much space in front of him. And I think he's lost some pace. So Liverpool now have to start thinking that the way we used to play with the fullbacks high and those two wide guys tucked in with someone dropping in, either you get some new wide guys, but we're getting Diaz back, who's got a decent amount of pace. But on the right, I have to agree with Zuberi that we need someone other than Salah at the moment, especially to maybe like even a young guy that just tries to give him a competition or gives him the rest from time to time.
No, I completely agree. I wouldn't say Salah's lost. I would say even if he has lost pace, he's still quick enough to get in behind. We've seen that still this season with like his goal against City, against United. He's still able to like take which was a few weeks ago. He's still able to take defenders on. For me, the worry is the balance off that right hand side where you look at the squad and there's actually no natural suitor to it. And if you are going to play someone in there, the most similar player to him in terms of cutting in is Harvey Elliott. And he doesn't have the pace. He's more of like an inverted sort of plays in the sort of half spaces, if you want to say. You look at Nunes, Jota, Gakpo, Diaz, they're all there on the left. So I completely agree with you, but
that's the one thing I'm interested to see though. Like, what is it? You know, a lot of people are starting to, like, what is it, change their mind on Jurgen Klopp, but I need to see how he changes it up here, because clearly our old style of play is no longer viable because those players that made it tick are getting old or have left the club or can't do some of the things that they used to do. So how will he adjust it? And those are reading the comments, those are saying that Klopp doesn't like flair midfielders. Go back to his Dortmund days, man. Those were like some technical midfielders that he was playing with, the 1-2s for days, giving goals. You would have seen the best crazy type of football, and it's quite different to what we're playing here. But it all depends on your recruitment and the people that you have. So we've got, I don't think it's a bad squad, but I think it needs 1 or 2 players, maybe 3, to tie it all in together again and give it the balance that it requires.
I think we need about 3 or 4 at least.
Oh, you guys are being modest. You guys almost are FSG in with that modesty. Bro, we need 6 to 10 players. Here's why.
10.
Yeah, let me learn. Here's why. Omar, you've been blessed to see what an effective midfield can do. We've never had a good midfield. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Never. Under Jurgen Klopp, we've never had a great midfield to the point where the midfield was deemed the Brexit midfield. That's not a compliment. Let's not pretend like that's a compliment. We've won things with it, but it was by no stretch a compliment. The Genie was our best midfielder on the Klopp era. He's not even a midfielder. So we've never had a good midfield. 6 to 10 players because the right side cannot operate on the left side. And this isn't all because of the tactical nous of the way we play. They cannot operate on the left. We have a fullback, and Robbo cannot use his right foot. So our players, no disrespect to them, they've achieved wonders, everything at club level. They cannot operate on the other side of the field. The Salah getting dispossessed by Grealish. If that was Mane would have cooked him. Mane ain't even a left winger. He's a right winger / striker, but he's so dynamic and amazing, he can fit over on the left. Genie, not even a midfielder, so dynamic, he can just play in the middle. What we currently have left is all the players that's not really dynamic. Gakpo, probably the only new dynamic player we have with Nunez and Diaz, but they all operate from left to center.
Yep.
All of our players operate from left to center as far as who's being dynamic. Bobby, you can call him dynamic, but he's not dynamic like going forward. He's dynamic dropping in. Jota, dynamic dropping in. Who's the player that's dynamic going forward? That's what we're lacking. Salah is not really missing much. He's just a Salah. He's always going to cook on the right-hand side. But he needs other players to run the rest of the pitch, and then he can do his thing out there if he's isolated 1v1. Sometimes a 2v2, 3v1, he'll cook. But you put that guy anywhere else on the pitch and he doesn't cook. That's an issue. And that's what we currently have. We're looking at a guy that's limited to one spot. That's very easy to defend. If I'm telling you we're putting Messi with a bunch of Sunday league men, bro, Messi is hardly going to cook in that game because we don't have to worry about these guys because they're not really going to do much. Milner's going to slip. Curtis going to slip. All these men are going to slip. Misplaced passes. All we got to worry about is one guy. So Salah is like playing 1v4. So right now what we have a situation where we can go, to you guys' point, get 4 pieces to hold up the entire team, or we can just get rid of the men that we know ain't really dynamic to be at this level to carry us back to what we. So are you
saying Salah? You would get rid of Salah because of that?
Well, put it like this: if we have Gakpo, Nunez, Diaz, and they all can operate from left to center, I haven't seen them too much on the right. It would make sense to get a player that can operate from like right to center and even on the left. I don't think Nunez struggles on the right. 1v1, I don't think he struggles because he'll still have the ability to beat a man byline and whip it in. Salah can't even take a man byline and whip it in on his left. That's disgraceful.
What I would say is the one player who you know can play on that right side, who is your top scorer every season, why I would be looking to take out from the amount of players we have on the left and put it to another person who can play from right to center, because the one guy who on the right who can look Salah will bring in the most money out of any player we sell without a doubt, but the one guy who can do that job better than most footballers, in my opinion, this is my opinion, than most footballers in the world, if not, well, I'd say he's in that top 2, top 3 bracket of right wingers, which is one of the hardest positions to sort of get players in nowadays, especially when they're left-footed. I would not be looking at him as someone to get rid of, especially considering his consistency with numbers. And I know sometimes you can get frustrated with his like sort of general play and he sort of goes missing. Like even today, he didn't really do much, but he's for me is one of the, if not the last player I'd be looking to get rid of, him and Alisson.
Now, you know what? I'll agree with Omar here. I wouldn't get rid of Salah. However, I'll change his role. I'll tell him you're no longer the goal getter, because we need to switch it up of over relying on you to get our goals, and we need more goals from central areas, which aka the midfield, and we need you to become a creator. And Liverpool and I know Pep Linders has been given, like, a torrid time after he released his book. However, I believe they were onto something to keep Salah really, really wide and make him a creator now, since we've got Nunes, since we've got Diaz on the other side, since we've got Gakpo now. I think centrally is where we need to start to push the threat for Liverpool. So that way we've got Trent, Salah, Robbo, Diaz on the wide areas that are a threat. And now we need some central players, aka Nunes, Gakpo, and some central midfielders that can, if they needed to, score goals from central areas or overrunning, running beyond the strikers. Sometimes get into the box and be that fourth, third man in there with the late runs. Some players that need to do that stuff, and that's the easier way than bringing in 10 man. Because I think if you bring 10 man in, I gotta be realistic. I don't see FSG doing it. I'm not opposed to the idea if we had like a Chelsea-esque owner. Why not? However, we don't. So I've got to keep it realistic.
Yeah, when you say 12 men, or 10 men, I'm not talking about 10 starting 11. Because think about it. We have Ox, we got Naby, we got Milner, over-relying on Bacetic. We have Simi, who definitely needs rhythm and a run of games. Right back, you don't know who the backup right back is. You've never seen him. There is one, but you've never seen him. Right wing, the options are Salah, or we're dragging a guy way out of his position. Jota is not a right winger. Bobby ain't a right winger. Who's the guys that we have up top? Nunes. Gakpo, if he goes up there, he's going to be doing the Bobby roll, dropping in deep. So I wouldn't even put him up there. You put Jota in there, same thing. We have no target man up there. So we only have one target man. It would be nice to get a second one. So even if we do run Nunes on the left, which I'm not sure why that's happening, that's almost like running a Rigi left. That's just not something you do. So now we have Diaz, Gakpo, they can run left. Gakpo can do a false nine, depending on the team you're playing. Midfield, 3 midfielders wouldn't hurt, given the amount that's leaving and given the quality we have in there. Center backs, I am over Gomez center backs, and I think Klopp is over at Gomez center back. Gomez right back doesn't even look too bad, but he still needs to tighten up and understand that he can't have his way at center back. So he's either going to step in that right back or step off. 2 center backs wouldn't hurt. Matip looked like, yeah, these are his last days. What are you going to do with him? Keep him? Got to let him go at this point. Verge ain't virgin, man. Let's be honest. So I'm telling you right now, I'll let Salah go, not because he's been poor, but bro, that extra cash can also help fund the rebuild. It's not letting them go to find a guy to replace him and get the numbers. No, if you're gonna ask Salah to do something other than what he's been doing for the past 5 years, and he can't even show you a glimpse of that in this season, what makes you think he's gonna be able to pull that off next season? You're better off letting him go and get a guy that is specific to what you're trying to do. To tell a guy like Salah, like, yeah, we're giving you 350, but we no longer need you to be the focal point in our attacks and counterattacks. That to me would be a tough ask.
For me, the guy's still our top scorer. The guy still scored 25 goals this season, got about 10 assists. And this isn't a struggling team. He's the guy that's putting out numbers. For me, and I'm sure for every Liverpool fan, the problem, and it has been all season, is the midfield. So, look, I would be looking at 3 midfielders straight away, because a lot of them are going to go. I'll probably take one of Henderson and Fabinho and say, if I'm Klopp, one of you have to go. I think it will be Fabinho, because he's not going to get rid of the captain. Defensively, yeah, definitely a centre-back. So, for me, 3, that's another one. 4, and I'd maybe look at a 5th, maybe maybe you do want to look at that right side, but then I just look at our attack and I'm like, that is the most healthy sort of area of our, apart from goalkeeper, like of our squad. When you compare it to sort of midfield and defense, midfield is an absolute joke. Needs a complete revamp. Needs a complete change. Defense centrally, like like Zuberi said, I'd maybe look at 2. If we do get rid of Matip or Gomez or both, you get 2 in, and you have 2 new ones with Konate and Van Dijk, and you have a new batch of 4 who can sort of do it again. So yeah, I would probably be at 5, but for me, like if you look at the right hand side, I'd be more faithful in trusting a youngster like Ben Doak on the right hand side, who has shown glimpses. I know he's not going to start and whatever, but he's like 17 or whatever. But I would be looking to give him game time if that means we can just focus our sort of transfer budget on the crucial area, which is midfield and centre back. Because at the end of the day, even though we did have a what they call a Brexit midfield, that sort of functioning midfield, even though it's not a Casemiro, Cruz, Modric, whatever in terms of like quality, it functioned enough to get the best out of Robertson and Trent. It did the legwork to protect the centre backs more, and it sort of gave a platform for our front three to then sort of focus more on their duties in the final third instead of coming back. Now we're seeing guys like Salah, Jota constantly trying to double up with the left and right back just to protect them. And we saw that today. And Joe Gomez, I thought, actually defensively played very well today. Going forward, like he's a centre back by trade. So he's not gonna be what Trent is on the ball. So yeah, Calvin Ramsey, we don't know what's going on with him. I hear he's injured to the end of the season. The club have put their faith in him. So they need someone to come good to sort of give Trent competition. They need him to come good. They need a Connor Bradley, someone like that to come good. But if you've invested in those areas, you're gonna have to sort of, I guess, and it's the state we've put ourselves in, because we have to look at where the crisis is, and the crisis is in midfield, and we're not going to spend. I can't see us sort of as much as I would change the team to get players that I want exactly into certain positions. I can't see us completely overhauling the squad. I can see us sort of targeting, and I hope we do target the area that we need, which is the sort of central midfield area and the centre back position. But so I just want to go back to the game because we've got like 5 minutes to go. In terms of result, 0-0, right? Zuberi, are you happy with that? In terms of like, not happy, but would you have taken that, considering all the circumstances that have happened before? Would you have taken a 0-0 and just been like, shake each other's hands, go home, clean sheet, whatever, and then move on to Arsenal for Sunday?
Yeah, 100%. I called it about 2 weeks ago. Not like I predicted this scoreline. I thought it would have been at least a 2-2, something to get excited about. Something like, oh, yeah, look, man, we can score. We can do a build-up. Did not expect a stalemate of 0-0 again. I expected us to like lose to City, not in the manner we did. I expected us to have a high scoring draw. You know what I'm saying? Enough to get both teams like, we can go out and do this. Because they've been struggling for goals as well. And then we go on to smash Arsenal. So I am open for the 4 out of the 9 points. Looking at the 3 fixtures of City, Chelsea, and Arsenal, a draw against Chelsea ain't bad. We've been drawing with them, with good teams, bad teams. They just counter us, and we just kind of just counter them. We just cancel each other. When we're both good, we're both equally good. When we're both bad, we're just equally bad. So I would have taken this. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I expected 4 points. Now I'm just praying for that win at Arsenal so I can feel good, man, because it's 3 tough fixtures. Getting 4 points isn't ideal, but it is what it is.
From a week like that, the season we've had. And the mad thing is, last season, or even a few seasons ago, we'd have gone, we want 9 out of 9 from that. Or we want 7 out of 9 from that. And we would have got that. Whereas now we're going 4 out of 9. We'll take that and try and see what we can do in the last 7-8 games. And it just shows the standards have dropped because of the state of the team. And no, like, I'm not being funny, but if Chelsea had someone who could finish up front instead of Havertz, who seems to not know how to put a ball past the goalkeeper, it could have easily been a loss. It could have been 2 or 3 to them because I don't know how many shots he had on target.
Yeah, Chelsea are just horrible up front. And for me, the result is the result. I wasn't watching the game for the result because for me, top 4 is long gone. I wanted to see who would step up, especially with these guys, Klopp giving the second string a chance. And honestly, very, very disappointed with how we played. Matip was all over the place. Konate was probably the better centre-back. But going back to what Zuberi said, Van Dijk has been very, very disappointing as well this season. It looks to me that injury that he sustained against Everton took a lot more out of him than we thought. Whether it's mentally, where he doesn't want to push himself or push his body, or he's getting like little niggly pains in the knee and is scared to do that, because I know when I've hurt my calf, I'm scared to push off of it very hard or just give 100% sprint. So bringing in a centre-back will be interesting. But yeah, in regards to this game, only thing that will give me pleasure from this game is if we beat Arsenal and let them start to melt down for a weekend and have fun with Bilal.
Let's see Bilal melt down. What I just want to touch on the Van Dijk thing is I'm not going to be reactionary just because I've seen enough top centre-backs in my time, the likes of John Terry, Ferdinand, Vidic. I've seen these guys sort of be written off after a season. Sergio Ramos, so many of the best centre-backs be written off. And then just because they're in a bad team, and if you're playing in a bad team, you're going to concede goals. The other team are going to run at your defence more. You're going to make more mistakes. It's just how it works. Being a centre-back, when you're playing in a good team, you get protected more. When you're playing in a bad team, you get exposed more. It's just the nature of being a centre-back. You can't physically change the whole game by being a centre-back because you're not controlling what's going on in front of you. You're not controlling the sort of midfield who are meant to sort of close down any sort of loose ball in midfield who are sort of meant to mop up, which is Van Dijk in his best years. He benefited from the likes of Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum, all these guys sort of being dogs and just being there to sort of protect him. And then when he had his job to do, he did it. But when he had those sort of 2 seasons where he looked invincible, I think it's natural for the criticism to come now where he isn't hitting those levels. So the fact that we've sort of set him to that standard where we're like, nobody can ever sort of pass this guy to now.
Nah, Omar, I think you're doing him a disservice, Let me big him up and tear him down in the same breath. The difference between your likes of VVD and like your Ramos and your Rio, those guys weren't like a brick wall when everything breaks down. VVD used to be the guy saving us before Ali. Like, don't discredit him and make it look like because we had an effective midfield. Bro, we had a reckless team because we know we had VVD.
True.
So, the dude was levels like, bro, we'll be cut open and out of nowhere, man doing the Man of Steel pose after just dispossessing the striker. Bro, striker is 1-on-1 and decide like, you know what, I'm not even on this. That means he completely got past the midfield and saw VVD and go, yep, I'm going to look for other options. Like, I've seen that plenty of time. Like, strikers just give up like, it's me and VVD, long. So the dude was immense. He never had that good of a protection. And we're getting cut open, and he'll just stop it. He'll just snuff it out. So the levels he set for himself and for like center backs across the world, dude, it was, bro, no center back ever held that sort of power. It's almost like Thanos with the Infinity Stones, bro.
People
No single being had that power. The dude was in the running for Ballon d'Or, bro. 2018, 2019?
Yeah,
Bro, the dude was unplayable at center back.
Lads, I got to shoot. Yeah, I'll let you guys wrap it up.
Man. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. But, I think we can kick on from this, man. We didn't lose. Got to take the positives. Clean sheet. They've been few and far between. What you saying, Omar?
You know what? First, one thing. I'm going to say two things. One, I agree with you on VVD. I think people think us Liverpool fans are mad when we say we haven't seen a defender defend like that, because I've never seen a defender sort of be that invincible. Number two, I said it at the start of today, before any sort of football kicked off. I said, why am I more confident about beating Arsenal than I am about beating a managerless, out of form, shocking Chelsea team? And
bro, that's football for you, man. Football. That's like us slapping the league leaders and losing to the bottom of the table.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So beating Chelsea would have done nothing for us. They managerless.
100%.
But kicking down Arsenal, roundhouse to the side of the face, 2 seconds knockout, that's what I'm looking for. Early goal. I think that's the sort of victory we need to pick our head up. This 0-0 against Chelsea feels like all the 0-0s we've had against Chelsea.
Yep. You look at a game like this on a Tuesday night, a game that you catch up on, and you're like, 0-0, two teams that aren't in it. It's standard. But, Zoobs, we move on. Arsenal Sunday, Anfield, league leaders.
Hey, we better make some noise, man.
We need to humble this BILAL guy as well. Wherever he is.
I'm licking all the shots off on Saturday, man. Gonna have fun with that. It's been a minute since we've had the show, then play. We've always played before the show, and it's I'm talking about shots being fired, man. We're in the trenches, so Saturday we'll have the upper hand. We'll big the game up. We'll talk the game up. We'll get the energy levels up. And Sunday, it's on the boys, man. It's on the boys and the manager and the home fans to get them boys over the line, man. Because them boys, they've been looking a little shaky, leggy. I don't know what's really going on, but I'm calling it early, 3-1 Liverpool. I'm calling it Tuesday. The game is Sunday.
And you know what? I second that opinion. And on that note, guys, smash the like button. We'll see you this weekend. Have a good one.